In the two previous videos, I attempted to bring understanding to some of the terms and concepts those on an awakening path might encounter. This video continues that as we look deeper into the composition of consciousness. If you have been reading articles within the awakened community, you have probably heard the term Lightworker more than once. When you hear this term, it is easy to correlate illumination with increasing knowledge. What I will attempt to do here is connect this term to a deeper understanding of consciousness and why I believe the term is more than a well-worn allegory. So let's get started. The universe we find ourselves individually aware within is at its base component a conscious entity. Most of us have heard variations of the concept that beyond our bodies our consciousness is comprised of the same constituents that originate from a single source. If we accept that the universe is consciousness and that we are all facets of it, existing within it, then by extension the material constructs that we consider solid and immutable also exist as creations within this source consciousness. In previous videos I described our individualized consciousness as a rotating array of energetic particulate. If we are recreations of a larger whole, it follows that we exist within a similar rotational universe. Science has attempted to deconstruct the material and analyze the resulting particles. Beyond the smallest observable constituents, we arrive at massless packets of energy whose behavior is still being analyzed. This is the divide between the solidified material of universal consciousness that we can observe and the energy of consciousness that we cannot. And it is here we arrive at the photonic nature of the universe. Electromagnetic photons can be observed and quantified by science while the composition of consciousness cannot. The reasons why are beyond the scope of this video, but let's allow a direct photonic correlation between the two as we consider the following. The amount of energy within a photon is proportional to its electromagnetic frequency and inversely proportional to its wavelength as shown on this graph of the electromagnetic spectrum. Let's break that down a little so we can use this relationship as we discuss consciousness. Frequency is defined as the rate at which something occurs within a given period. Wavelength is defined as the distance between successive crests in a waveform. This helps us understand that the simplified graph of the electromagnetic spectrum is attempting to show us that the more energy a photon contains, the higher its vibrational peak, wavelength, and the faster its frequency of spin. We also need to consider another factor as we relate these concepts to consciousness. Photons are not just vibrating and spinning, they are also rotating upon their axis as they move. This creates a helical torsional spin. Torsion is defined as the act of being twisted as one end is related to the other. Applying the torsional spin of photons to the graph of the electromagnetic spectrum, we begin to understand the interrelationships. I have provided that background to show that the more energy a photon contains, the faster it spins about its axis and the more energy it imparts to its surroundings as it moves in a torsional wave. If we now apply these concepts to the particulate of consciousness, we can infer a similar relationship. The more energy you contain, the faster your array will spin, assuming a perfectly balanced sphere. The resulting torsion spin creates a larger energetic waveform that emanates beyond you. This is what the term raising your frequency is attempting to convey. As with photons in the visible spectrum, as the frequency within consciousness increases, so too does the perceived color radiating beyond the individual membrane of your consciousness. Some people can see these colors, and this is where the color of your aura relates to the energy of your consciousness. This is a function of the balance and resulting energy of your spherical conscious array. And the more you can hold, the more you radiate beyond yourself and the higher your auric color. It is here we come to the root of the term Lightworker. As you increase your energy, you increase the light and energy radiating from your consciousness, which in turn becomes the light that illuminates others. We are all radiating energy and sharing it every time we get within proximity of each other, and we must now refine our definitions of light and dark as they relate to consciousness. Darkness is defined as the absence of light. You do not walk out of a room and turn on the darkness. You turn off the light and darkness results. In physics, an object is considered dark when it absorbs the electromagnetic energy of surrounding photons. If increasing conscious energy creates an accelerating rotation that emits light, then the opposite would be a darkness in consciousness that absorbs energy. For a flow of energy to exist, there must be an electrical potential or polarity between the two conductors. The magnitude of flow that results is dependent upon the differential between the two conductors and whether saturation and loss of polarity occurs. Therefore, a highly positive consciousness will energize any lower energy consciousness it encounters as long as it remains the higher energy. Conversely, a highly negative or dark consciousness would absorb positive energy until it reaches saturation, at which point it would become neutral. Now let's consider how these energy transfers impact consciousness and what those effects feel like. Consciousness is a rotating array of energetic particulate. In physics, a body in motion stays in motion unless impacted by an outside force. Consciousness is a body in motion, and while you may not understand what is occurring, you can feel when your rotation is being impacted. When you acquire a step increase in energy, you immediately feel it as your array is accelerated. Acceleration causes the positive responses of joy, happiness, and love. As you acclimate to this new level of energy, the initial feeling of acceleration subsides. The next time you come in contact with energy above your baseline, you will again feel the surge and accompanying rush. You may be able to recognize positive energy below your baseline, but it is not causing an acceleration within your sphere of consciousness. To help understand this, consider the concept of moment of inertia, which is defined as a body's tendency to resist angular rotation. The rate at which the particles of consciousness complete a rotation is called frequency. A consciousness that is impacted by an external energy will increase in speed and will feel the torque, which is resistance to motion, as it accelerates to a new frequency. Any additional increases to the particle's frequency will require energy above the current level in order to overcome the new moment of inertia contained within this consciousness. You can call this effect whatever you want, but you will know when your consciousness has been accelerated quickly by an outside force. The other concept to consider in this discussion is sympathetic resonance, which is defined as a vibratory body that responds to an external source with which it has a harmonic likeness. There are consciousnesses here who are resonating at a very low rate and are not in sympathetic resonance. The moment of inertia is too great within their consciousness to be overcome through external interaction. Rather than being accelerated, they must first be realigned to the proper rotational vectors. The resulting physical and emotional expressions these consciousnesses exhibit as this occurs cannot be anticipated, and this partially explains the turmoil we are currently witnessing. Consciousness at this lower level will not engage in conversations related to awakening or ascension until they have attained sympathetic resonance. With the understanding that the awakened are sharing their energy with others and silently assisting the illumination within consciousness, the term Lightworker begins to take on additional meaning. From my perspective, I prefer the term lamplighter, which is a person tasked with systematically lighting the path for others. The people benefiting from the light they are bathed in seldom see who lit the path for them to follow, but are comforted and assisted all the same. Be the lamplighter and create the path others will follow, whether they know who lit their way or not. The concepts contained in this video and others on this channel are discussed in detail in the book, Expansion for Ascending Consciousness. If you have found this information engaging, I recommend you purchase the book. With it, you can expand upon what is provided here as you read and compare it with the audio segments. In this way, a fuller picture is presented. You can find the link in the comments section of this video. Thank you.